was born, raised, and lived most of my life in South Africa, a country that has some technological difficulties. I currently live in the Netherlands, where some would argue that it kind of has its shit together in terms of technology. But the other night, the power went out. And there was no more lights. The Wi-Fi was dead. And there was no quiet hum of the background machines. The fridge was off. The radiator. And in that moment, I realized how loud the silence actually was. Every sound in the room now felt kind of alive. The tick of my analog watch, my breath, and the water in the pipes from the neighbors flushing the toilet. And in that moment of darkness and silence or emphasized noise, it felt like the world had stopped working. But for the first time in years, it's almost like I could finally hear, without this baseline white noise. We're going to discuss this notion of technological relations or background technological relations today. So if you find this a little bit fascinating, stick around.
Welcome to the insides of my logbook while doing a PhD in AI. I'm hoping that you think, I hadn't thought about it like that. Philosopher Don Ihde calls these type of relations background relations. This is part 4 of 4 of Don Ihde's technological relations series. And this background relation is when technology hides behind us, but still shapes how we live. It's the thermostat that warms the room before you even feel cold. It's the fridge that hums through the night. And it's the light that senses movement. You didn't notice it. And that's the whole point. To let you forget that the world ever needed this tending. But when they stop, it's like reality shatters. And you realize how much your comfort is actually automatic. And how little you actually control. The more seamlessly that our environments respond, the less we respond to them. We've trained ourselves to wait for things to happen to us. Light, warmth, information. When the power died, I come from South Africa, we have energy problems. It's called load shedding. It's where the government just turns off the electricity for a select period of time. And when this power, let's say it's not planned, when it shuts off, the first thing you do is you don't move. You're like, wait, what? What do I do? And you kind of just almost wait for your house to fix itself. At least that's what I do here in the Netherlands because it's so unexpected. And it's a little bit of a reflex that I had to tune because in South Africa, you wait and you're like, oh, okay, cool. We know it's coming. We anticipate it. And then you continue with your life. Whereas here, you're like, wait, what's happening? There's nothing I can do about it. It should fix itself. And it eventually does fix in the Netherlands quite quickly. So we wait instead of act. And this is where I found this contrast between South Africa and the Netherlands, where the Netherlands things just work. It's wonderful. But it is this first world thing. It's a symptom of the age. And this is the notion of automation. We just wait. This reflex that we have that exists in the first world is to wait instead of act. I think it might be the truest symptom of the age of automation. And I don't think people are lazy. I think we're just domesticated by convenience. And I think that's okay. The background that we live in has learned to anticipate us so well. And it started to define what normal now feels like. What Don Ihde's insights on this background relation with technology that we have is that technology doesn't just extend us, like I discussed in the previous videos. It choreographs us. It sets the rhythm of every day without ever asking permission. The lights adjust before we even notice. And when notifications fill silence, our senses, they adapt to the world that's already decided. And that's his key point. And it's comfort. We see it as comfort. Yes. But comfort edits our perception. The more the world smooths itself out for us, the less we experience its texture. And one could argue that there's a loss in this notion of background relations. And it's that we're not losing control, but maybe we're losing some sort of contrast to what we would. It's this contrast. And hear me out. It's like we forget how unease feels. And in that, we lose this notion of awareness because things are decided. Lights go on, heaters go on, all of these things, we don't actively have to think about this anymore. So we're not aware. This morning, I was speaking about a power cut here in the Netherlands, in a first world country. Now, let's think about when the power came back. Everything blinked awake. This surge of deep breath that technology is now alive. There was this hum, maybe from the fridge, the ventilators, the radiator, a chorus of small machines remembering who they are and their place in this world. For a moment, it felt like the house exhales. And then you would too, because you're like, okay, I don't have to sort out this problem anymore. I can continue with my life, cooking, eating, breathing. And there's something about this weird being in the dark where you notice this absence of technology. And in that, it feels like when they all came back on, there's some sort of weird presence here. And this is presence, this is very meta, but there's this technological existence that I live with. And that is what Ihde is talking about, these background relations that we don't notice until they're gone.
Tonight, maybe try turn everything off. You know that big switch on your DB board? That one. Every screen goes off, every socket goes off, air conditioning, radiators, they all go off. Not for too long, you don't want your food to spoil, but just to feel it. And sit for a minute. And at some point, the stillness will start to feel uncomfortable. And that discomfort, that is the world existing and continuing with you in it, but without any other distractions, taking you away from living on our big planet. And there was a time where society used to live in that exact situation. Before radios even existed, they would just sit there, either listening to other people, or just taking in. Remove all of the silence, all of the noise, everything. It's kind of crazy. Anyway, I'm gonna go to bed. Check you guys tomorrow.